So today I'm going to talk about, my talk title is, I want to know what love is. And I want to begin with a confession. See, most of us think we know what love is. We know that feeling of being welcomed, of a warm hug from someone that we know. We know that feeling of gathering around a table with friends and family. And we know the moments when life is unfolding beautifully and our hearts are naturally open, right? We all know that feeling. And yet, the contemplative question before us today asks something much deeper. Are you able to let love be present in the uncomfortable and the good? And what? And the good. Are you able to let love be present in both the uncomfortable and the good? See, notice it doesn't ask, is love present? It asks whether we are able to let love be present. There's a big difference there, right? Because most of us could recognize love when life is going our way. The real spiritual question, though, is whether we can experience love when life is not going our way. Right? Can we recognize love in uncertainty? Can we recognize love in grief? Can we recognize love when relationships are challenging? Can we recognize love when we're disappointed, lonely, afraid, even heartbroken? Can we allow love to be present not only in the mountaintop moments, but also in the valleys? That's the invitation for us today. See, many of us learned that love is a feeling, a wonderful feeling. It's certainty. It's a feeling. I remember growing up and reading novels and watching Disney cartoons and seeing love, Disney shows and cartoons, and love was Pepe Le Pew and his heart beating, right? That was love. Love was the prince riding in on the white horse to save the princess. Is that really love? It's the romance novel. It's the Hallmark Channel shows, right? It's all of that. We learned that love is what happens when somebody treats us well, right? Love is approval. It's affection. It's comfort, right? How many of us know someone who expresses their love by feeding people? Yeah, love those people, by the way. If you're one of those, let me know. Love is being understood, or it's being chosen. It's being chosen. And while all those things are outward expressions of love, they're not the whole story. Reading this morning I grabbed it reminds us. The reading says, to truly love, we must learn to mix various ingredients: care, affection, recognition, respect, commitment, and trust, as well as honest and open communication. That's a big list. But it shows us that love is more than an emotion. It's more than an emotion. Love is a way of being, right? It's a way of relating. It's a way of seeing. And sometimes love shows up in forms we don't immediately recognize. Sometimes love shows up as patience. Sometimes as courage. Sometimes as truth. Sometimes as forgiveness. And sometimes love appears as the strength to stay present when every single part of us wants to run away. I was flipping through my favorite video creators this morning and I saw one and this person said, today I want you to walk through the world like a 4-year-old wearing a cape does. Confident, standing tall, and knowing that you can conquer anything. So let's all take our cape out of our pocket. Come on, take your cape, shake it out, and put it on. And let's be that 4-year-old that can do anything. And we can recognize love and we can express love. I love that image. Every time I do this, it's going to be me thinking of that. Now, Ernest Holmes wrote, there is but one ultimate impulsion in the universe. That impulsion is love. Think about it. It's not impulses. It's not an occasional force. It's not something that comes and goes. It's ultimate impulsion, the fundamental movement of life itself. The very energy that creates galaxies, opens flowers, heals wounds, and calls humanity towards greater compassion. That is ultimate love. The ultimate impulsion of the universe. So if Holmes is right, and I believe he is, then love is not something that we manufacture. Love is not something we manufacture. It just is. Right? Love already exists in the center of our reality. Love is not our achievement. Love is our nature. It's who we are. Love is the current already flowing beneath every occurrence in life. It is the spiritual journey. And that spiritual journey is now not about creating love. It's about expressing love. It's about tapping into it. It's about being aware that it's already here. It's about removing any barriers that keep us from recognizing that it's always been true. Most of us have places where we allow love and places where we don't. Do you have a spot in your heart that you don't allow love in? Somebody in your world that you don't allow love in that connection? We all have it. We all have it. We allow love in when we feel successful. We allow love when we feel appreciated. We allow love when our prayers seem to be answered. But when life becomes uncomfortable, often something changes. We tighten and we contract and we protect ourselves. We turn away. And even though love can be coming at us, we're blocking it. Nope, 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 nope. Right? We become afraid of it. And then we start asking questions. Why is this happening to me? What is everything going wrong? How do I get out of this? Have you ever had that moment? And while these questions are understandable, they can sometimes prevent us from asking a deeper question. And that question is, where is love right here in this moment? Not because difficulty itself is loving, not because suffering is good, not because pain should be present or should be glorified. Oh, you know those people? They glorify their pain, they glorify their drama, right? But because love is larger than any circumstance we can find ourselves in. Love can be present even when it hurts. Love can be present even when we're confused. And love can be present even when our hearts are breaking. Imagine you're out here at the shore and the waves are coming in. And you know, no two waves are alike, right? Some are gentle, some are rough. Some of them are just plain beautiful. Some bring beauty and some bring disruption. You know, that one that sneaks up on you and gets a little too close, right? But beneath the surface is the vastness of the sea itself, right? Our experiences are the waves. Love is the ocean. The waves are going to change, but the ocean remains. Joy comes and goes, and yet love remains. Success comes and goes, and yet love remains, right? Health challenges, relationships, circumstances shift. Love always is there. This is the spiritual practice right here. It's the ocean. Recognizing that life and the experiences are all waves, but the ocean is still love. We don't deny the waves. We don't go, oh no, that's not really happening, right? Because what we resist persists, right? But we don't pretend like everything's fine. We just remember that the ocean is always there. It's always beneath the wave. Now the courage, the change here, the trick here is to have the courage to remain open. One of the most difficult things we can do is to remain open-hearted when life becomes uncomfortable. Right? Our instinct is self-protection. We build walls, we withdraw, we become cynical. Right? We decide that if we stop caring, we won't get hurt. It's normal, totally normal. And yet every spiritual tradition teaches a similar lesson. The heart grows by not closing, but by opening. Not because opening is always comfortable, but because opening keeps us connected to life. The world teaches us that vulnerability is weakness. Spirit teaches us that vulnerability is strength. Because it takes courage to love after loss. It takes courage to trust after disappointment, and it takes courage to remain compassionate when you have every reason not to. And yet, it's in that courage where a transformation happens. Many of us have had an experience that initially felt unbearable, right? A loss, a transition, a disappointment, something we never would have chosen. We've all had an experience like that. And yet, when you look back years later, we often discover that the experience expanded us, enlarged us. I had a family friend that would say, this could be the best, worst thing that's ever happened to you. This could be the best, worst thing that's ever happened to you. And I'm going to tell you, I've had quite a few of those best, worst things that have ever happened to me. And every time I look back, because I remained open, something magical happened. Something magical happened. I lost a job right as I bought a house, and I had no savings. And yet something magical happened because I stayed open. Right? Everything happens for a reason, and if we can stay open to it, we allow even more to come in. It deepens our compassion, it softens our judgments, it makes us more available to others when we experience these things, and it reveals strengths that we never knew that we had. Right? The event itself wasn't the gift. It's the expansion that occurred through it that was the gift. And often that expansion happened because love continued to work within us, even when we couldn't see it. Even when we doubted, even when we resisted, even when we felt abandoned. love was still there and quietly doing its work. Just like the ocean is still there, quietly doing its work. Now, one of the most radical teachings of Jesus was not simply that we should love our neighbors. It was that love exists beyond conditions, beyond deserving, beyond agreement, beyond convenience. In the Gospel of Matthew, Jesus says, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." This isn't sentimental advice, it's spiritual mastery. Because Jesus understood that love was not merely a reaction, love is a spiritual power, a state of consciousness, a recognition of divine in all life. Which Kate back on, boys and girls. When we withhold love until conditions improve, we remain bound to circumstances. When we withhold love until things improve, we remain bound to what happens. When we embody love regardless of what happens, we remain free. We remain free. So the topic today, or the title is, I want to know what love is. It's a beautiful human longing. We all want to know, we all seek it, we all yearn for it, but perhaps the spiritual invitation is slightly different. What if the question isn't, what is love? What if instead the question is, can I recognize the love that is already here? Can I recognize it in this moment? Can I recognize it in my grief or my uncertainty? Can I recognize it in my healing? Can I recognize it in my relationships or myself? Because love may not always arrive in the form that we expect it to. Sometimes love appears as a supportive friend, right? Sometimes as silence. Sometimes love appears as wisdom. Sometimes it's as rest. Sometimes it shows up as the strength to take one more step when we're feeling defeated. And sometimes it just simply appears as presence, the divine presence, right? The quiet assurance that we're never alone, that what we seek is already a part of who we are. So I'm going to give you homework. This week, I invite you into a simple spiritual practice. Whenever something uncomfortable shows up this week, I want you to pause and ask yourself, how might love be present here? How might love be present here? Where's love in this? Don't ask, why is this happening? Don't ask, how do I get rid of this? Say, where is love in this? Or simply, how is love present here? And you might not get an immediate answer, and that's totally okay. The purpose isn't to force meeting. The purpose is to open our awareness, to become available to a deeper truth. To remember that love is not limited to pleasant experiences. Love is the essence underneath all of our experiences. I've had a lot of experiences lately. A lot. And my go-to has always been, where is love in this? Where is love in this? even when I'm brought to my knees and I don't know what's next, I always remember to ask, where is love in this? I don't have to know the answer. I just have to be open to it coming. So our invitation today is not to be perfect, not to pretend everything is wonderful, not to bypass the pain. We don't do spiritual bypass there. We don't say, oh, everything is fine when we're suffering, right? It's simply just to become willing to believe that love is greater than we are, and willing to trust that love remains present even when circumstances change. Willing to discover that divine love is not something that arrives when life is comfortable. It's what's been carrying us all along. Kind of reminds me of the poem Footprints in the Sand. You all know that one? Footprints in the Sand. I remember getting a print of it when I was in 6th grade maybe, and going down to Payless and buying a frame and putting it in and putting it on my wall right as my bedroom door, to remind myself that I'm never alone. To remind myself that I'm never alone, that there is something greater than I am, and when I'm suffering, it's carrying me. Right? Ernest Holmes reminds us there is but one ultimate impulsion in the universe: love. The love that creates, the love that sustains, the love that heals, the love that includes every part of our experience. So may we recognize the good. May we recognize love in the good and in the uncomfortable. And may we come to know, not merely with our minds, but with our lives, that we are expressions of that love itself. Let's pray, shall we? Knowing that there is one source, one power, one presence, affirming and naming it divine ultimate love. I know that it moves in, through, and around everything that we could see and everything that we cannot. It is every molecule that touches the hair on our skin. It is the feeling of the breeze, the smell of the ocean. It's the joy of laughter. It is that imaginary cape that we put on so we could slay the day. It's all of that. And it is who we are. It shows up as us. Each one of us are an expression of that love. We are the outward expression of that experience. We are divine presence in form, showing up to do what it can do through each and what it can only do through each and every one of us. The science of mind teaches that there is one power in, through, and around all things, and its nature is love. So I know that in love, healing is already happening. I know that in love, peace is already happening. I know that through love, in love, joy is happening right now on our planet. The birds are singing, the deer are doing their thing, the bunnies are frolicking in the meadows, the fish are swimming, the birds are flying, the butterflies are moving air, buds are blooming. It's all love. It's all love. And we know the generosity of it. We see it in our lives every single day, and we open ourselves to all of it, to the healing, to the power, to the presence. We allow it to move through and be who we are. and grateful for this knowledge. I'm grateful for my imaginary cake today. Because my 4-year-old self is going to express that confidence and that power as she moves through the week and she invites you all to join her. And we do so in gratitude. Gratitude of the reminders, gratitude for the life that is already ours, and gratitude for the future that we can claim in this moment. So I release this prayer into the mind of law, knowing that it is already done. And I just simply anchor this, and you may join me in doing so by simply saying, and so it is. Thank you. Hold on, I'm changing my hat.